Welcome back to the channel. We're taking you on another ride through the real streets of New York City, and this time we're starting in the Bronx and we're cruising all the way down to Queens Boulevard, crossing borough lines, iconic bridges, and the kind of everyday scenes that make NYC one of the most dynamic places in the world. This isn't just a drive, it's a look into the neighborhoods, the movement, and the life of the city. Today, we're kicking off our ride from the heart of the South Bronx, right here at St. Anne's Avenue and East 156th Street. This part of the Bronx is full of energy, local flavor, and real New York grit. Big shout out to all of you watching and supporting the channel. I appreciate every single one of you. Want a shout out in the next video? Drop a comment below and I might feature you. As we make our way out of the Bronx, keep an eye on how the scenery shifts, from tight residential blocks to industrial zones, and eventually that unmistakable skyline peeking in. We'll be passing over two major bridges during this trip, and here's a quick question for you. Can you guys name the two bridges we'll be crossing before we reach Queens? Drop your answers in the comments. Let's see who knows their NYC geography. If you're liking the vibe, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to keep exploring the city with me, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate the support. first bridge coming up, always a classic view. You get that wide stretch of the East River and sometimes even a glimpse of Manhattan off to the side. If you guessed this one right, you know you're in NYC roads. If you've made it this far, I know you're enjoying the ride. So go ahead, smash that like button, and subscribe if you want to keep cruising through New York with me. Let's grow this community together. Once we hit Queens, you'll notice the change in architecture, more low-rise buildings, mixed-use blocks, and a lot of neighborhood diversity. Queens Blvd is one of the borough's main arteries. It connects everything from local shops to major subway stops. Awesome. Alright, that's the ride. From the Bronx to Queens Blvd, a trip through the veins of New York City. If you enjoyed the drive, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for more real NYC rides, neighborhood stories, and local insight. And don't forget, let me know if you guessed the two bridges correctly. Catch you in the next one.